So our authenticity rule number 3 is understand your audience and integrate into their environment, which is, you know, I think going back to people talking about how they like to be approached. No one likes to be pulled out of a conversation and say, come talk to me, do this for me. People want to stay where they are and have you come to them and offer them something that they can find useful right away. So one of the campaigns we ran with ModCloth last year, which is Vintage Inspiration Contest. What we found on Chictopia was that vintage was one of the top tagged items on Chictopia, and ModCloth has a brand where they're very vintage inspired. So they basically engage into the community and they say, oh, show us your vintage inspired contest, and that garnered thousands of entries in a matter of a month, and the results were very great. And from talking to Susan, they had a lot of fun looking at users participating in this contest as well.
Similarly on Polyvore, we sometimes get brands coming to us saying, oh, I want to drive traffic to my microsite or to my website or something separate, but we encourage them to encourage our users to use their products in their sets, because that's really powerful. One way to think of some of these sets is as ads. I mean, that's not why they're being created, but I mean, when I put together a set that says, you know, that's filled with Nike products or Marc Jacobs products, and then I share that with my friends, that's a really powerful statement. That's me telling my friends, hey, I like Marc Jacobs. And that's much better for a brand than having them randomly go to some site when they were in the middle of doing something else. So we definitely encourage people to, advertisers to stay in the environments that they're working with in the social media sites. So the last area you want to talk about was brand advocacy, which is when a fan, someone who just sort of happens to like your brand, becomes a real advocate. They become someone who talks to their friends about a brand and says, I love this brand, I love Marc Jacobs, I love Forever 21, and that it helps the brand. Word of mouth marketing is always the best.
Number one, I think, in terms of brand advocate role is trying to figure out how to influence the influencers. I think a lot of brands come to us and they say, you know, I want to spend this much money with you and I want how much traffic. But what I don't think they understand is it's a long-term investment in social media. It's a story that you have to tell. It's the same as if you go up to a blogger saying, I'm going to give you this, give me this right away. So how you influence the influencers is how you structure your campaign and make a story around it. So I think one of the really good campaigns that Urban Outfitters ran, which is their collaboration with Jen Aldridge, she already had an existing fan base, and we actually put this slide together before Judy had her speech, but Urban Outfitters said, well, let's do a collaboration where it's a win-win situation. You know, you can get a fan base from Urban Outfitters customers, but we also want to align ourselves with you. And I think that's the case where I'm sure it wasn't, you know, a one-day deal where they came up with a proposal and say, do it this way. Let's collaborate. Let's think about ways we can work together, and let's, you know, benefit from both of our customer base. Chictopia also did this with American Apparel, one of our partners, where we took in some of our influencers and we shot them in campaigns, and then we displayed that in our community. So this is a way of essentially getting the community being really excited that if I do participate in the community, besides getting comments, besides getting chic rewards, you can also get recognition from brands. American Apparel was one of the first ones to do this with us, but after that we had a lot more brands participating and trying to figure out what's the best way to tell that story.
The third rule, which I think is really important, is make it personal and make it about self-expression. If someone is going to create content that features a brand, if it's something that they really care about, if it's something that they spent time putting together, if it's like a blog post you're writing where you know it has a photo of yourself, you're going to be much more likely to share it with your friends, tell your friends about it, because it's personal. So I think that's really important for brands to understand. One thing that we did with Gap, which worked really, really well, was when they launched their new denim line, the tagline was "Born to Fit," and they asked the social media world on Facebook and Polyvore, "What were you born to do?" So people responded with, beautiful sets saying, "I was born to change the world. I was born to travel. I was born to make a difference. Born to be a lawyer, construction worker." All sorts of like really interesting and inspiring outfits were created, and those were the ones that got shared because people felt strongly about them.
Another engagement campaign that's currently going on is with Forever 21. They're running a Forever Sweetheart contest on Chictopia. So besides uploading something that you're wearing with Forever 21 label, which most of us have something from that because the price point is so affordable, they ask people to tell us to hold up a sign that has the name of the person or the thing that you love. And I think this is a great way of not only just getting your users engaged, but also getting your users engaged and sharing it with someone, because not only will the user post a photo, but also the person will most likely tell the person that they wrote about to look at their page as well. And we saw that pretty often. We saw a few boyfriends signing on and commenting. So the last one, in terms of brand advocacy, I think ultimately the investment that you're making upfront is how you can turn your fans into your marketers. And I want to take one step back in terms of working with social media. Is if you have a really, really strong product, it just takes a little bit of social media to get your fans going. So if you have a really, really strong product, get people to see it. And I think just as naturally as people, we want to tell people about good things. Danny Roberts just introduced me to a new way of getting suit tailored because he loves his new suit so much that he was wearing earlier. And that was, I'm sure nobody, paid him to talk about that. So getting a great product recognized by your audience and getting people to see the value of that product takes some time, but once they do, they'll naturally share that. So this is my coat from Nicole Miller that I talk about all the time that I was wearing earlier today. I uploaded on Chictopia and I talk about it just because it's one of my favorite coats for the winter. And Nicole Miller didn't even invite me to her show, but I still wear her coat and talk about it just because I love it.
Similarly, on Polyvore, people can publish their sets instantly to Facebook and Twitter. So this is one that I actually published. I really like them. You probably can't see them that well, but there's these Burberry boots that were in there, and I wanted them. I didn't buy them though, but I posted that, and someone later told me, "Oh, did you know that LF Stores and Jeffrey Campbell have teamed up to knock that boot off?" But I mean, it's great for brands to have people sharing information about them on Facebook. When you're looking through your news feed and you see, sometimes you see announcements from the brands that you're a fan of. I think what's really more powerful is when your friends are talking about those brands, not when that brand is telling you, "Hey, check out this 20% off coupon," and it just doesn't feel the same. So that's really, I think, a primary goal for the brands to understand.